Hey, what's going on, guys? We got some very interesting news here. So you're not going to see very many mainstream media networks covering this. However, you will definitely see coverage of it on this channel. So Dr. Cornel West, who is one of the main left-leaning intellectuals of our time, has announced that he is running for president. Only there's a strange twist to it. Normally when people announce they're running for president, they run as a Democrat, or maybe they run for like an independent or something. Mostly they choose Democrat or Republican. This guy is running for a third party, and he's running for a third party that, to be honest with you, I have never even heard of until today. And I used to work in politics, and I've never even heard of this party. But this party is also extremely new, so that's probably why I've never heard of them. But yeah, so Dr. Cornel West made his announcement today. He said he's running for president, which I actually think isn't that bad, to be completely honest with you guys. I actually like Dr. Cornel West. Even if you disagree with him, he's very charismatic. He's very likable. He gets along with people. He knows how to debate and get his point across without, one, being a sellout, and two, being like condescending towards like other people's viewpoints. Like, he's always on different networks. He's been on Fox News, CNN, every network you could think of. Dr. Cornel West has been on there. And I actually really like him. I like a lot of the things that he says. Obviously, I don't agree with everything he says, but there is a lot that he says that I do agree with. He's a very smart guy. So let's just read this article from Politico. It says right here, scholar and activist Cornel West announced Monday he's running as a presidential candidate for the People's Party. Now, when I first saw the People's Party, I was just thinking, what in God's name is that? And this is where it gets interesting, because when I see these candidates announce that they're running for president and they're running for these weird political parties or they run as independents, I automatically think in my head, they're not serious. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Dr. Cornel West, because I actually really, truly do like him. But from a political perspective, as somebody who used to work for the Democratic Party and run campaigns, I can tell you right now, I would look at this guy and be like, clearly he's not serious. Like, I can tell you right now what the Democrats are thinking. I can literally tell you. They're thinking in their minds that all this guy is going to do is take votes from them. That's all he's going to do, because he's not going to win, but he is going to get some votes. He might get like 1% of the vote or something like that, which would be bad for the Democrats, because those are votes that probably would have went to Biden, but instead they might go to this weirdo who's running. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to explain to you guys how these people think, okay? And by the way, I was watching CNN earlier, and I basically, from what I saw, somebody who has inside information on what the campaign thinks said that Biden's campaign is like monitoring Dr. Cornel West in this situation, which doesn't surprise me at all, because like I said, he's a left-leaning political scholar and activist. So he's obviously not going to take votes from the Republican Party. Ain't no Republicans or Trump people voting for Dr. Cornel West. It's going to be Democratic left-leaning folks who are most likely going to vote for him. So it makes sense why Biden's campaign will be monitoring it. He's definitely not a threat. He has zero chance of winning. As a matter of fact, let's just get into the People's Party. We need to talk about this. So the article just kind of goes into, Dr. Cornel West, him working at Harvard, because, he's worked for Ivy Leagues and different things like that. But let's get into the People's Party, because this is a very interesting organization. First of all, this organization is extremely new. They were founded in 2017 by a guy named Nick Brana, who was actually the former national political outreach coordinator for the 2016 presidential campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. He left, he founded his own political party, and they've literally done nothing. And a lot of people hate this Nick Brana guy. Like, they think he's, a sexual abuser. He's got all these other allegations of him being a grifter. Let's just read the Wikipedia, because the Wikipedia is actually really, really funny. So let's just read the history. It says right here, in 2017, Nick Brana founded the movement for a People's Party out of the draft for a draft Bernie for a People's Party, blah, 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 blah. Let's keep scrolling down. In September 2017, the group gave an invitation with 50,000 signatures to Bernie to lead the creation. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Which Sanders ignored. Oh, wow, that's funny. So basically, the group gave an invitation with 50,000 signatures to Bernie Sanders to lead the creation of the People's Party, which Sanders ignored. So basically, this former staffer of Bernie Sanders created his own political party. He was like, hey, Bernie, we would love for you to be a part of our party. Would you like to do it? Bernie didn't even respond. He just ignored him. He's like, who the heck are you guys? So that happened. August 2020, the organization held a virtual people's convention, which was viewed by 400,000 people on various platforms. Speaker included former Democratic Party 2020 presidential election candidate Marianne Williamson, Cornel West, Nina Turner, Jesse Ventura, blah, 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 blah. Let's read here because it gets funny. In February 2022, Brana was accused of sexual harassment by Zana Day, former MPP executive director, which was corroborated by coworker Paula. Brana denied these claims, which he called false and politically motivated and blah, blah, blah. So basically, I'm familiar with this story. I was doing a little bit of reading about it. So basically, Nick Brana, who's the founder, was accused of sexual assault and sexual harassment. Sexual harassment. And basically, there were some board members who sided with his accuser, and he fired them. Literally, he said, "Okay, you guys want to side with her? Bye bye." That's literally what happened. So you got a lot of people who are not happy with Cornel West because he's basically running under that party, and they don't like Nick Brown. So you got that, but that doesn't even really that's not the biggest worry to me, right? Like, whether he did it or not, I have no idea. Obviously, if he did it, he's a horrible person, but I don't know. I don't know enough about that story to say whether he did it or not. But what I do know is that the People's Party is only on the ballot in 3 states. Folks, let me say that again. The People's Party are only on the ballot in 3 states. Keep in mind, the other 2 third parties, the Green Party and the Libertarian Party, are on 12 to 15 different state ballots. This party's only on 3: Virginia, Missouri, and Florida. Dr. Cornel West, what are you doing? You're not even going to get in the ballot in most of the states. That's why I say I'm not being disrespectful to Dr. Cornel West. But when you decide to run for president on a political party that's only on the ballot in 3 states, I have no choice but to think, I can't take you seriously, man. Clearly, you don't truly want to win. At least RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson are running as Democrats. I don't understand why he doesn't just run as a Democrat. I think the purpose of him running should be, because obviously you're not going to win. The purpose of you running should be to get your ideas out there. You should run with the sole purpose of, because he's a very smart man. He's an intellectual, and he actually has some very good ideas. I actually like him. He should be running as a Democrat, and he should be pushing and putting pressure on Biden and Democratic leadership to embrace or try to at least understand where he's coming from in a lot of what he says. Running as the People's Party isn't going to do anything because the mainstream media is barely going to cover you. I know he has ties to them, so some of them might because he has friends in them, but overall, they're not going to cover you. The coverage is going to be dominated by Joe Biden because the Democratic Party has already decided Joe Biden is the only guy that could beat Trump. He's not going to hold any debates. Nobody else can beat him. Everybody else who has a chance to beat him, step aside, shut up, sit down, wait your turn. Don't you dare run for president. That's literally what's happening. So I just don't know what you're doing. I also want you guys to keep in mind that it's been more than a half a century since a candidate who is not from the Republican or Democratic Party won a single state in the presidential election. Let's keep that in mind. You also got to keep in mind that the presidential debates are ran by a group called the Commission on Presidential Debates. They've run every single presidential debate since 1988, and not one time have they ever allowed a single third-party candidate to participate in the debate. Now, obviously, it doesn't really matter because the Democrats aren't letting Biden debate either, so even the Democrats, which is Marianne Williamson and RFK, aren't even going to be able to debate against Joe Biden. But the bottom line is, folks, I just don't understand why you would run for this weird party. When I look at the People's Party, because I've done a little bit of research into them. Oh, let me show you guys this last thing too, which is absolutely insane. Before the 2022 United States midterm elections, the People's Party announced that it was aiming to run a dozen or more federal races, including a seat or 2 in the U.S. Senate. However, the People's Party never announced any candidates for the 2022 elections. You know what that tells me? The Green Party and the Libertarian Party are much better options because they at least they have a track record of doing something. The People's Party are a bunch of failures. They're failures. They said they were going to run people in the midterm election. They did all this big talk. They didn't run nobody. They not even on the ballot in states. They on 3 state ballots. Their organization is jacked up. They got 5 board members that got fired. A lot of people hate Nick Brana, which is the founder, and think that he's a grifter. Bernie Sanders didn't even want to join the organization. Dr. Cornel West, what the hell are you doing? I really do like you, but I know I'm not alone when I say, why did you choose this party? It really makes me think that this is what I really think happened. I think he probably wanted to run for president, and the People's Party approached him and they said, hey, we think that you should run for us. Here's why. We represent the same values. We like you. And dare I say, I don't think Dr. Cornel West did any research. I'm not trying to be ageist here or whatever the word is, but he's old. He's 70 years old. I'm not saying he's not smart or sharp. He is. But he clearly didn't do any research into this organization. Clearly he just said, we got the same views. You guys approach me, whatever side deal they had or whatever thing they talked about behind the scenes of what's going to happen and how it's going to go. He ended up saying, okay, I'll do it, which once again makes me question his motive. What in God's name are you running for? Because you sure as hell ain't running to win. You're not even running to make noise. If you wanted to at least make noise, even if you knew you weren't going to win, if you at least wanted to make noise and get your name out there and get your ideas out there, you would run as a freaking Democrat. That would be so smart. You could run for the Democratic Party, but you could be a super hardcore far leftist like you are and keep it at that. What the heck is the People's Party? Nobody's going to check for them. Nobody's going to go on their trash website. You ain't going to get on the ballot in half the states. You're not going to get no media coverage. All you got is your Twitter and whoever little friends in the media you have, and that's it. You're going to be irrelevant. I would argue your regular platform is better than, what are you doing? So that's my rant. I just had to get that out, guys, because it's just sad because he had a great opportunity here because he's a very special candidate. He's different than a lot of the leftist candidates. He's not as radical as an AOC or as radical as a Bernie Sanders, at least not in my opinion. He has the exact same ideas as them, but he's not as crap crazy as them, and he articulates his points very well, and he can hold his own against any candidate in the debate. So it just sucks that out of all the parties, he chooses this random weird party that was founded in 2017 that has no structure, no organization, never ran any candidates that won. It honestly seems like at this point, the only purpose you really serve is to take votes away from the Democrats, because that's basically all that's going to happen. Anyway, guys, that's my rant. I just can't believe it. I just think he blew it. Hopefully he drops out and just runs as a Democrat. That would be so smart. Please don't run for this weird party. They're losers, man. They're losers. You have no chance of winning. You're not going to get any coverage. The People's Party is a party of losers. It's that simple. So anyway, guys, that's my rant. Those are my thoughts on the whole thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.